Oh, look, it's time for our next guest now. And most of us take using a computer and screens for granted. But for some people living with disabilities, it can be one of life's biggest challenges. Fran Killoway invented and founded Frasil, a program designed to help people living with disabilities. She joins us now to tell us her story. Welcome to you, Fran Killoway.
Oh, hi, Alana. How are you? Hi, Ben.
Very well. Now, Fran, tell us, what are some of the biggest challenges that people with disabilities like Alzheimer's and MND and Parkinson's disease, what are they sort of dealing with day to day? What are some of those challenges?
I think the easiest way for me to answer the question is the experience I had yesterday. After we appeared on Sunrise, we had hundreds of people wanting to download it. So we actually are calling each person individually, one at a time. And some of the stories that we heard were just mind-boggling. You know, parents that have got two adult children that have got disabilities, brain-acquired injuries, all that sort of thing. And their biggest challenge is, how do people communicate when they can't talk? How do people communicate when they want something? That sort of thing. And that's what Frasil changes completely.
You know, what's interesting is that I think for a lot of people, we feel as though, you know, if you don't know someone who maybe has a disability, then you feel like, oh, there's a language breakdown there and people feel a little bit uncomfortable about it. Don't you think that what we need to be doing is, you know, building a bridge with that and making it just a little bit less scary and a little bit more accessible?
Absolutely, Ben. And that's my whole attitude. To me, a person with a disability is just a person. And when we built it, it took 10 years to build it. And in that 10 years, the thing that was most important to me was not each time that we went and had it checked or we'd ask someone to do a trial, and we've done hundreds of them, we wouldn't say to them, can you tell us what's good about it? I always insisted on being told what sucks about it. And so over 10 years, we started to learn what the problems were and how we could make it so that people, when they look at the screen, so if you're sitting with someone and you don't know who they are and they're using their iPad or their tablet or their phone, the most important thing for me was it looked like every other app that every other person uses. And so essentially that takes away that stigma of disability.
So tell us a little bit more about the Frasil program, Fran. Like, how does it actually help people living with these types of disabilities? What can it do, these programs?
It actually works for them independently. So if you watch my feed on either Facebook or Instagram, you'll start to meet a character called Whacker. And inside all technologies, there's a database that's basically just a filing cabinet, and it sits there and it holds all our details and all our information, but it really doesn't do anything. The difference between Frasil is Whacker actually works inside the database, and he's intelligent. So if someone wants to pee now, for example, under my needs, he knows immediately that he's got to send an SMS to the carer or to the person to let them know they want to pee. So it works intelligently within itself rather than being dictated to by a management system that really doesn't understand a client.
You talked a little bit about the process of building this app and saying that it took, 10 years to make. What was some of the things that happened along the way when it came to building it?
Oh, my sense of humour got in the way. At my age, at 68, I'm totally incorrect politically and I don't give a stuff. And listening to people telling me day in, day out, I was too old, I couldn't possibly have designed it, someone else must have built it. That always amused me. But then when you get past all of that and you just ignore it, it was about understanding how to get every disability to use the same program, but allow the program to deal with each individual person. And that's been our biggest challenge, and developing it just in black and white. Can you believe how many people don't think black and white works? And so once you start with black and white, for example, people can then change it to suit themselves. So it's an interesting argument.
100%. But I think also one of the things that's amazing is that age is just a number now. Like people are living longer and people are able to think outside the box. And without you putting together this technology, no one would have done it. So you've really stepped into a space that's helping people. Are you proud of yourself to be able to have achieved something so fantastic?
No, I'm more humbled than I am anything else. I think, Ben, at the end of the day, it's an experience you can't explain. When you see little 4.5-year-old Grace, and she's up on my feeds, and she's controlling her entire life and her entire family now just using our app, and it's an interesting exercise. Mum wanted to have a break the other day, and she was using my feelings for the first time, and she'd set little Grace up, and she just settled down to a nice piece of homemade chocolate cake when a message came through to say, I'm bored. So the fun side of it is that Grace could tell her that she wanted company, but the interesting thing about it is that it allows them to communicate on their terms and in their way. And if you're a carer, for example, and someone can't communicate to you, how do you know what they want? So, and how does the NDIS planners, how do they know what people actually want? So this way they can actually dictate their own plans and they can do what they want to do.
Fran, my grandma actually had Parkinson's disease, and so my mum was the primary carer, throughout that sort of, and they're very long diseases, a lot of these diseases. And so, the sort of stages that you go through and trying to be a support person through all that and the deterioration, and to have programs like this that, because their mind is fine and you can see it in their eyes, they're listening to everything you're saying, but the struggle to communicate is so difficult. So programs like this, I mean, from a support person point of view, like you're saying, the feedback must be just extraordinary.
It is. And do you know what we do with diseases like MS, MND, MS, and certainly Parkinson's? Before they lose their voice, what we're encouraging people to do now is to actually tape their voice for about a half an hour for us. And we've developed a set of algorithms that allow us to then turn that to make their voice their own. So when they do lose their voice, they can actually still talk to their loved ones as if it's them. And then if you have the Parkinson's that actually affects where you lose the use of your muscles, our technology actually works on full facial recognition with muscles, so I can actually replicate their image inside the technology from day one. So not only can they say, I still love you, but it's done with the same facial expressions that they would have had before, let alone tell people what. So that's what it's going to.
And obviously you're getting so much interest about this. Like you said, you were on Sunrise yesterday, but I mean, the sort of public interest in something like this, there's so many people and so many families needing this.
It is, and look, we're just grateful for people who just come in and say hello to us. And we were asked, one question I was asked was, why was it $1.99 a week? And that's the price it will be going forward. But over the next 4 weeks, we're actually downloading the major programs on it, like My Voice, My Day, all those sorts of things. So at the moment, we're just testing its functionality and its connectivity, but it will only be $1.99 US a week in about 6 weeks' time, because it was more important to us to make sure that people could actually use it rather than not be able to afford it.
Yeah, absolutely. I reckon there must be so many people out there listening to you talk right now about this and are desperate to get their hands on it. So, look, if people want to be able to download this app or get involved, how can they?
They simply go to frasil.com or go directly to either Apple or the Google Play stores, and they can download it. And now's the time to do it because it's free for the next 6 to 8 weeks until we get it working properly. And then, as I said, it's been priced so everyone can afford it. And we priced it also so we don't need to go to the NDIS and go through the rigmarole of, 6 and 7 months of planning to actually get it. So we've made it affordable. And for me, it's the most humbling experience when I see just one person's life changed.
Oh, look, Frank, congratulations. Congratulations to you and the team for putting this together. Certainly something that's going to be helping so many families. And thanks for sharing your story with us this morning.
No, look, thank you both for taking an interest, and thank your audience for watching. I really appreciate the time.
Thanks, Fran.
Thank you.